Well, hey everybody, Pastor Derek here, and I wanted to do a brief introduction to this new podcast that we are launching this week, and that will show up on YouTube every month, called What the Hill is Happening, where we're going to be talking about the upcoming major events in the life of the church for whatever month that is. So this is the June episode, the inaugural episode that kind of begins the whole thing. And we're going to be talking about the major events and things that are happening in the month of June. This time around, it will be our kids camp and our middle school and high school camps, followed by our Puerto Rico mission trip. And so the thought behind this podcast is really pretty simple. We want it to be both informative and that it gives you information concerning the upcoming events, if they're events that apply to you, or in this case, your kids, since they're all youth or kids ministry related. We want you to have the information for those particular events, but along with it being informative, we also want it to be formative. And what we mean by that is not just a bunch of information, but some of the thoughts that have gone into why we're doing these particular events. And my hope, my prayer for you is that there are going to be things said by various different staff members and leaders over the course of this podcast series that say things that just make you pause and think and allow the Holy Spirit to convict your heart or encourage your heart or whatever, however it applies. We're going to be talking about just kind of our prayers for some of these events and the goal, the mission, the hopes. We hope it'll be a little bit funny. We've got a great staff. We've got a great group of people at City on a Hill, and so many great conversations go into preparing for these great events, and we want to give you a snapshot of what that looks like. And so we're here in my home. I've got, obviously, my dog here for this particular intro, and I say all that to say that we're in a house with animals, with other things happening in it, and so we want this to be very informal in that sense, to invite you in and just hear about what's coming up in a way that is both helpful and also helps you in your walk with Jesus as well. And so we're going to jump right into the June episode. We hope that you have a great time. Well, hello, Philippians, and welcome to the June episode of What the Hill is Happening. It's Pastor Derek here, and I'm excited to walk through the upcoming events of the month of June. Here in a week or so, we are going to be embarking on a lot of great things, first of which is our camp season. And I've got with me today the bright minds who have put this year's camp together and who will be running it. We have Aaron Nelson, June Barker, Emma Cunnington, and RJ Andrade. We are here to talk about what we're going to be speaking about at the camps, the curriculum, the thoughts behind it, and just kind of our prayers for you as a family and particularly your kids. And so I just want to open up the room to begin this discussion. How did you guys, first of all, why don't we talk about what the theme is? Y'all explain the theme to all those out there.
Okay. Do I start?
Yeah.
Yes. The theme for camp this summer is extreme game show, not regular game show, extreme game show.
And how we came up with this camp idea was camp was about 2 days from being over last year, and June was like, I'm already planning next year's camp, and I've already got the theme figured out. So it's going to be game show themed, and so we're doing all of the family favorites. Am I allowed to say those names, or is there some sort of royalty that we're going to have to pay? So I'm just going to send it. So we're going to be doing Family Feud, Deal or No Deal, and then Wheel of Fortune. And it is going to be an excellent, fun time. We've gotten a lot of engagement from church members who have helped us build props, create online platforms. And when you see it, you're going to be amazed. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Just to give you some context out there. So obviously we're streaming on YouTube and other platforms, and there are certain things we can and cannot say copyright-wise. So if all of that is bleeped out, you'll know why. It's because it can't be said. I don't think it's a problem, though. So all casual. What about you? Tell us about your thoughts behind, what do you hope to see happen at Kids Camp with regard to the theme? How's it all going to play out? What are you most excited for?
Oh, man. I think just the element of like sprinkling the games throughout camp, having it kind of just be a part of what we're doing. Every day we got something different going on and at different points. So we got some little games that are going to be kind of featured before dinner and things like that. So I think it's just going to create like a one big kind of game show experience, which I think will be really cool.
Yeah. And real fast, say the names of the camps or the games again that y'all.
So we got.
Yeah, sure. So we've got Family Feud, Deal or No Deal, and then Wheel of Fortune are like our main ones.
Are we talking like Bob Barker Wheel of Fortune or more like Drew Carey Wheel of Fortune?
We're talking Betty Barker.
Betty Barker.
Wheel of Fortune.
Barbara Barker.
It's Barb's.
Just so everyone is aware, I will be the game show host for the summer. I demanded it, in fact. And my last name is already Barker, so those Bob Barker fans know.
There's a lineage
It's
to
perfect.
protect here.
So my character's name is Barb Barker, and I will be the game show host. Already got a wig and a sparkly blazer.
So I say all that to say, for those of you at home who want to, these are shows that a lot of us grew up with that your kids may have no idea about, and so maybe that'd be a fun thing for you to do as a family, especially for Family Feud and the
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune is the Wheel of Fortune's not Bob Barker. That's Price is Right. I failed. Wow, shame on me. Amazing. So, yeah, thank you. So you might do that just to prepare for camp. It would kind of give them some context for where these games are being derived from. They certainly don't have to know where they're being derived from. It's going to be a lot of fun. But if that's something that you would enjoy as a family, then we certainly would love to see that. Let's talk about the teaching, the curriculum, what's going to go along with this. And RJ is here. He's going to be doing a lot of the camp sessions for, actually all the teaching sessions for middle school, high school. Emma, are you doing the ones for kids this year?
Some of them
And then some of them
will be some of my other leaders.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, RJ, you were kind of the brains behind the operation on this in terms of the book of Mark. Let's talk about what led you to that.
Yeah, I was in the New Testament class, and my professor was asking the question, which one is your favorite gospel book? And he said John, and then most of the class raised their hands. And then he said Matthew, maybe half. Luke, and then most people raised their hand for Luke. With Mark, there was only one person that raised their hand. So only one person really liked the book of Mark as their favorite. And as I started studying the book of Mark, I decided to write a research paper on it and started to find out many details that are just hidden gems in the book of Mark, like the fact that he conceals Jesus' identity. He uses immediacy, which is something. What is up, Jude?
Sorry, my husband's making me laugh.
Studio audience.
Yeah, we have someone over here. He just has so many things that are just hidden if you read through the book, because it is the shortest gospel. But pairing that with the fact that our kids don't like to read as much as people did in the past, I think that's a great book to explore since it's short but so deep. So that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be called The Adventures of the Son of Man.
The Adventures of
we're
the
very
Son of
excited.
Man. Little superhero action theme, which will be super cool. Fun fact for you at home, Mark is the first of the Gospels written. It's not the first, obviously, in the New Testament. Matthew comes prior to that chronologically in terms of the order, but when it was written, Mark is the first. It's the shortest, and Matthew likely borrowed some from Mark and then gave his own information as well. One additional thing, I don't know if y'all are going to be talking about this or not, but Mark was not one of the original disciples who walked with Jesus, and
You're giving away too much information.
The parents need to know this. So he actually derives his story from more than likely Peter. So fun. And just as I guess, why don't we give this away for our tens of viewers at home? I'm actually going to be preaching through Mark in the fall at City on a Hill, and so we'll have a verse by verse study through that gospel that I'm really looking forward to. And so good. Well, great. So that's exciting. What are your prayers for this? Like, what are you hoping to see really happen? Why don't we can start with you, and
Okay.
we'll work our way back around this way.
Yeah, in terms of the teaching, something that we're doing differently this year is that we're doing the Bible study more focused on the actual Bible. We want them to not just read devotionals, and so we're going to allocate time for them to read the Bible and then couple that with some questions and, guided instructions.
What tools are you giving them to read the Bible?
We're actually going to give them an ESV Book of Mark journaling book, I guess. It's going to be very exciting because every page has an extra page for notes. So we're going to be planning it around that. And prayers, just I'm going to let Aaron share too, but for me, just that the students will really understand the goal of the book of Mark, which is portraying Jesus as the suffering servant and the ultimate hero of humanity. So that's the goal. We hope to see kids who don't know Jesus there at camp, and then they get to know Jesus there. So
It's awesome. Let's go to Emma.
oh, sorry.
Thanks. There you go. So I think for me, like, I see camp as just an awesome opportunity to immerse kids in the Word, but also in relationships with other adults that are believers. That, Sunday morning you can only go so far, an hour a week with kids, and with camp you've got them there 24 hours a day for 3 days. Just the relationships grow deeper with each other, with the adults that they're with. Their times to open up, their times to learn through the Word. So I think for me, my prayer is just that these kids really get the most out of the opportunity. They make those connections. They see, what their parents are telling them. They see other adults telling them the same thing and living the same thing. And I think that, to me, speaks volumes to them and for their faith. So hopefully, that they would just grow deeper in their faith and deeper in relationships.
Love that. It's great.
For me, I love camp. I grew up going to camp and worked at camp all through college and stuff. And so I feel like I've seen a lot of different ways to do camp. And this will be our 3rd year, for those of y'all that don't know, having the ranch and doing our own camp and not going somewhere else. And so every summer I feel like all of us as a staff has just grown and learned more each summer. And so this summer particularly, I feel like we're really diving in, like what RJ was saying, about more of the Bible study aspect. And I feel like that just ties in with giving them a super well-rounded camp experience. We are smaller and we're working off of a budget. So there's some things that kids hear about their friends doing at camp, like the blob and stuff that we don't have, which one day, if
We don't have yet.
if we can get the pond to not be gross.
Infested with snakes and fish.
Yeah, and amoebas.
What are we doing to the fish?
Anyways, I just hope that they walk away feeling like it's been a full experience. That's always my prayer.
That's great.
So, I think that camp provides such a different experience. Kind of like you were saying, Emma, they get to be around us for 2 hours max a week. Seems like maybe a little bit more than that, but it just gives them such a prolonged time with their leaders, with us. We really get to get past a few more layers than we would on just a normal given Wednesday or Sunday. And so that to me is such a big deal, just those relationships growing deeper, but also just some of my most pivotal moments and most aha times was at summer camp as a kid. When I think about my faith and that decision to follow Jesus, a lot of that was formed at summer camp. And so that's my prayer for these kids, just that they experience God, that they see their leaders chasing after the Father's heart, and that they want to do the same. So that's my prayer for summer camp.
That's awesome.
So,
Awesome stuff.
yeah.
Awesome stuff. Why don't we do this? Let's talk for a moment. If you had one word to tell parents to if there is anything to take away to prepare your kid for camp, and it can be spiritually, it can be practically, don't forget a water bottle or don't forget this or whatever. What's the one thing that you would say to the parents to, above all else, prioritize as they get ready to send their kids to camp?
Man, I would just I would encourage you parents to encourage your student to not hold back at camp. It can be such a scary thing for a lot of these kids. It's the first time being away from their parents, but just to encourage them to embrace it. It can be scary. Just embrace not the fear. Don't be fearful, but just embrace the just the unknown. Yeah, and just trust God, trust your leaders, and just go out there with an open mind and open heart. And that's for me. That's what I encourage them. So.
I think for me, it's not really one word. That's really hard for people like me. But I think for me, it's more kids feed off of adults and their parents. And so if a kid's going into camp and they feel like the adults around them haven't been excited about it, they're not going to be excited about it. So just getting them excited about it, like not treating it like it's a chore, or, I don't know, when you go to the meetings and stuff, like not acting like that's a chore, just like get them excited about every step about it. And that way when they get there, it's like there's been like this hype built. And then we get to be the excited goons that, take over the excitement. I just said excited 80 times. Anyways.
Excellent. Excellent.
I would say just kind of, first of all, kind of read the Bible with them. Like, we're going to put out the passages, especially for kids camp. They'll be probably shorter passages. Like, read that with them before camp. But just open up the discussion with them. Talk about it. What are they excited about? What are they looking forward to? What are they nervous about? And then that'll open up the discussion for when you get back to find out what happened and how they enjoyed it.
Yeah, love that.
So we're not doing a word.
Yeah, I meant like not in a literal word, but like if you could give like a word of encouragement. That's kind of what I was saying. Yes.
I'm not from here, if you didn't know. Yeah. Let me see. So I would say I was thinking of the word, so I'll just go with nature. I think for me, one of my favorite things is
human nature. Yeah.
Well, no, nature in general. Going on hikes and contemplating God's creation. And I think it's so awesome that we have a ranch that we get to call our own. And that the kids can enjoy that, in the place that we get to go every year. And then we get to see different things that happen there, different animals. And so just contemplating God in that simple way too, because he gave us this world and it's a beautiful place when we go to camp. And I love that. So encourage them to enjoy that too.
Amen.
Deodorant.
Please.
That's my word.
Please,
Deodorant.
yes.
Laundry. That'd be great. Well, if you have any more questions or are in need of information, of course, the primary way we're always going to direct you to register your kids or middle schoolers or high schoolers for camp is the Church Center app. If you don't have that, then we highly recommend you download that. It is a free app. And it's beneficial for a lot more reasons than just simply registering for camp, but that is certainly a good reason to initially download it. And so if you would do that, there's a lot of information on that registration page in terms of times. I know at least for the middle school, high school, both of those, the day of for registration will be 9:30 a.m., 7 p.m. pickup time on the day that they get back. I'm not sure about you guys. You'll have that information out there as well. I was just at the parent meeting recently where we talked a lot about that. And so we highly encourage you to get your kids registered, get them signed up, prioritize this. I mean, I'm going to just say, in closing, as a pastor, these are those moments that like they'll never be recreated, right? There's never a do-over when it comes to every camp is totally different. Every camp has different experiences, different emphases. Obviously, they're all centered around loving Jesus and following him and being obedient and all those things, but every camp has its own flavor. And it kills me when I hear parents that are like, I'm not so sure if we're going to be able to fit it into the schedule. Like, clear your schedule. This happens once a year, and it is such an important thing. My kids have been coming to camps since before they were allowed to come to camps because I would come and serve, and they would come with me. This is the first year they're going without me and without Jessica, and we're so excited for them because they're building memories in their own faith that they're going to look back on as these really formative experiences, and we just don't want to see your kids miss out. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is if you cannot afford camp, then please come and talk to us. We will absolutely figure out a way to scholarship your kids in. We will keep it confidential. You don't have to worry about like people thinking something about you or like less than or whatever. We want your kids to come to camp. And so the costs that we have attached to these camps don't even pay for the whole thing. We're just trying to recoup some of the costs because it is, it costs money to run a camp. But with that being said, we will pull from whatever resources we can to make sure that your kids are able to come and be a part of this. And so super, super important that you know that you hear that from me. That is from not only myself, but that's the heart of the elders at this church. We want your kids to be a part of it. And so please do that. Dates, you want to tell the dates real quick for your middle school, high school camps?
Yeah, so middle school is July 6th through 10th.
Great.
And then high school is July 27th through 31st.
27th through 31st. And then for kids camp?
We are going soon. It's June 5th to the 8th.
Ooh, June 5th through the 8th. So that's the information you need. This has been really fun. I think that, so often camp is just like a lot of like kind of crazy details and there's not a whole lot of time to do this kind of thing. And one of the advantages of a podcast like this is to be able to talk about such a monumental event every year and why we chose Mark and why, what we hope for and, deodorant and things of that nature. So things of great significance. And so we will be right back here in a moment. All right, we have switched out RJ with Chris Cunnington, and we're moving on to the next topic, next big thing for the month of June, which is a mission trip to Puerto Rico. Yeah. So super excited for this. There's a lot of dynamics here for why both a mission trip and specifically to Puerto Rico matter. And so let's start with Chris this time. We haven't heard from you yet.
Yeah.
Talk about how this all came about and what the plan is.
Yeah, so, we've been running mission trips at the church for a while. COVID stopped that for a minute there, and mission trips had to get canceled, and here we go, getting back into the swing of it. Puerto Rico was really something that came up in conversation with June out of her family's descent and her love for that country. And Send Relief have a mission trip that they run there. Send Relief is an organization that is out of the Southern Baptist denomination, and so kind of getting tied to our roots there. It's a chance for us to be a part of our denomination beyond Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And it's just one of their offerings, and so it just kind of fit, and came at a good time, and it's an exploratory trip for us. It's the first time we've been to Puerto Rico as a church, and so we're gonna go and try something new.
I love it. Why don't you talk a little bit about your family? Shout out Emil Ortiz, by the way. Let's hear it.
He's not on social media, so maybe he won't be listening. But yeah, my dad is from Puerto Rico, so I grew up going to Puerto Rico. Most of my family on my dad's side is still there, and about it was 2017. I can't do math. However long ago that was, when Hurricane Maria hit, Kelsey and I were a part of our previous church, and we took a team down there to do hurricane cleanup, and Send Relief had just gotten there after the hurricane. And it was just the coolest organization because you do everything through them. So they pick you up from the airport, they take you there, they give you your service project for the week, you get to visit a local church, and then they take you right back to the airport. So there's a lot of those moving pieces that sometimes make mission trips difficult that they take care of. But yeah, I love Puerto Rico for a mission trip because it gives you the feeling of being in a totally new culture and out of the country, but you don't need a passport because it's a territory of the United States, and most people speak English, so you can still communicate and use U.S. dollars and all that stuff.
Yeah, awesome. And who all are you going to be taking on this trip?
Yeah, so Aaron's going. We have one of our youth moms, Lacey Poole, is going. And then Julie Harris is going. She speaks Spanish, so she'll be able to help translate. And then we have 4 of our City Light students going.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited because I think it's all 4 of their first mission trip.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. And then you're going, of course.
Yes,
and then
I'm going.
Chris is going. So that y'all have a really great team together. And just to reiterate, Send Relief is, again, connected to our denomination. Many of you may not know that we are Southern Baptist. We like to say we're Baptist. We're just not mad about it. But one of the central reasons why we have remained a part of the denomination for as long as we have, apart from the fact that we align mostly theologically, is the missions. They do a remarkable job with missionary efforts, and evangelism and missions are a big part of the heart of our denomination, and so it's very exciting, I think, to see us partner with them and do some of that. Talk about like the plan. What are the kids going to experience when they're there? Do we have any idea? Is that set out yet, schedule wise?
Yeah. So y'all just tell me if y'all want to jump in.
Hard labor.
Yes, definitely hard labor. So they don't tell you what your actual service project will be until you get there. When we went back in 2017, we did 3 different roofs. So there were roofs that needed to be repainted and sealed. And so that's what we did. But it's basically based off of like priority need. So they wait until the week before to see what's like the highest priority need and what project can be accomplished with our size group.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
we're not sure yet.
Yeah. So, I was looking at some data last week. I got an email from the Barna group. It was talking about teenagers and how 75% of teenagers want to make a difference, like Christian teenagers, they want to make a difference. And the number one need that they want to meet is poverty and relief. It was interesting, the same article talked about only, I think 17% put in their top 5 issues that they want to address was sexual orientation discrimination.
Wow.
It's not a bit as big of an issue as helping people with a practical material need. And, there's a lot of things in between that have value to them. But this is a trip that's going to be, like Aaron said, it's going to be work. But it's going to be meeting a practical need and be in the hands of Christ.
I love that. There was a study that was conducted, at least in part by Dr. Michael Wilder, and I can't remember when it was. He told me about it. I want to say it was a few years back ago at least, but where they measured the effectiveness of short-term mission trips with respect to developing Christian leadership within a youth group. And what they found was that short-term mission trips were extremely effective in establishing leadership qualities within middle school and high schoolers. Interestingly, long-term missionary efforts were actually the opposite. They actually were negative towards those things. And some of the takeaways from that were that perhaps being in an environment, especially in a poverty-stricken environment, and especially in third world context, where they become almost jaded with the American church system when they come back.
Right.
And so it's like the short-term amount is just enough for them to like really have a fire lit under them to want to serve in practical ways. Which is one of the reasons why we started really revisiting and talking about, obviously, like Chris mentioned, COVID shut us down for a while, and so it's been really exciting to see you guys put this together, and to have 4 of our students go. Obviously, it's not cheap doing something like this, and they've raised money, and it's been super, super exciting to see that happen. So while y'all are gone, you're going to be in Puerto Rico. I am going to be in your motherland, England.
First time ever, right?
Yeah, first time ever. And so, we've got some group of the staff going to Puerto Rico. I'll be in England. I was given the opportunity to study at Oxford, and so very excited for that. Get a little sightseeing, be with some of the people at Southwestern as well. And so, the end of June is just going to be kind of crazy in terms of travel and City on a Hill really spreading out to other parts of the world, which is going to be super exciting. Anything I should look for to do?
Well, what's there to do in Oxford? We're not from Oxford, though. We have gotten to visit,
So Kent, right, and then Sydney, right, Australia. So just amazing.
You'll find you'll go out to buy a Coke in a corner store that is older than the United States history. Everything is just ancient, and so just read stuff as you drive. You'll see little plaques that kind of talk about the history of stuff, and it's so different.
I can't wait.
You're gonna love it.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
What are you excited to eat?
What am I most excited to eat? Well, I want a proper English breakfast.
You gotta have it.
I want to try fish and chips because I understand the fish is close here, the chips are not so much. So
Yeah, it's totally different.
very different, yeah.
Very different.
And then say again, blood pudding, of course. I mean, yeah. There are a couple of other things that I'm looking forward to, but mostly just trying it all.
Are you going to sit on a bench that C.S. Lewis sat and smoke a pipe?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I don't have a pipe, but I will sit on benches and hope that they were the very benches that C.S. Lewis sat on. No, I'm very excited about that. We're going to be going to Metropolitan Tabernacle where Charles Spurgeon preached. I think John Gill preached there as well, which is really remarkable. So there's the history. We're going to be studying British Reformation, and I'm so looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really Yeah, really impactful moment. So we will be right back with a little bit of a wrap up. Stick around. Well, we hope you have enjoyed the June episode of What the Hill is Happening. Obviously, lots of exciting things coming up in this next month with kids camp, with middle school and high school camp, and then, of course, the mission trips. As always, and as was mentioned previously in the podcast, the Church Center app is a great way to connect and register for all of these events. The mission trip is closed, I think, at this point because we have to plan those things well in advance. But for camps, there is a cutoff date. I'm not sure exactly when that is. It's different for each camp, but get with the ministry leaders. If it's past that point, we can still talk about working you in if you were previously not planning on coming, and this podcast has inspired you to have your kids be involved after all. But we look forward to next month as well. We've got a lot of great things to talk about there. So look forward to the July episode dropping at the end of June. God bless you, and if you're ever wondering what the hill is happening, you know where to come to find out.